Thank you for sharing both Butterfly Dream and War on Repose. I think in Butterfly Dream, we can say that one of the underlying themes is that love shines in the bleakest of worlds. And the same can be said for my first novel, A Love Like Blood. I had a neighbor when I was in high school who was a gay man. He went to prison for a very long time, and he could not read. And so he would get letters from family members and friends at prison, and I would read these letters to him. And so I wanted to write a book about the world through his eyes. And so I started that project, and then I couldn't complete it. And so the main character out of that book entered into a new book, which is the book A Love Like Blood. And to kind of like give you more about it, so it's set in the year 1998, so before digital camera technology, and it follows the main character. His name is Carsten. He's 17, he's Somali and Cuban. His father's Somali, his mother's Cuban, and his grandfather migrated from Somalia to Chicago to make a better way for his family. He was a photographer, and he taught his son to be a photographer, and so Carsten is a photographer. And so the grandfather, when he came to the States, he wanted to be more American, and so he changed his last name to be more American. He converted from Islam to Catholicism to be more American. And so the book is about race, religion, immigrant life, and sexuality. And so I want to read a chapter that kind of like highlights all of the things that I wanted to include in the book. And so I think that's all you need to know to understand what's going on. This is chapter 12. Grunts and quick swipes on wood were constant at grandfather's house. The basin and crucifix in his front room would vanish throughout the day. However, not at the same time. At 9 at night, they were returned after guests had left. He bowed to Allah 5 times a day before coming to America, and then identified as Muslim and Catholic. Guest conversations reflected both faiths. Almsgiving and as Allah has willed were heard after or before Glory Be, the Rosary, and Our Father. Father learned the Quran and the Bible in Somali, English, and Spanish. As an adult, he buried certain Islamic beliefs he believed interfered with being a photographer. Disgust for dogs was not one of them. Being that dogs leave impurities behind like little treats, urine, fecal matter, sweaty hair, dander, milk, or even worse, saliva. In order to hear God's word, prayer space needs to be pure as a gold banner made of silk. The body needs to be pure as well. He would say, do not let a mutt come near you. If it touches you, you have to wash that part of the body 7 times with river water. On the morning that I turned 11, hearing a knock on our door lit up my face. Father would shake me violently for answering the door. However, I thought it was grandfather with the camera I wanted. A beer-bellied man was beating on our neighbor's door. An explosive cry from the other side of him jolted me. His Saint Bernard galloped toward us with globs of drool dripping down his mouth. Father screamed. Heavy footsteps hurried toward us, but it was too late. The demon dog leaped up, stood on his hind legs, and licked Father's face. Stinging beads formed under my skin and burst through the skin at my elbows down to my wrists. I saw the globs and itched. The dog stepped with my father, compensating for his unexpected movements, and licked his face clean. Licking his face, he seemed happier than any other dog I had ever seen. The curse words from father's lips scared me more than the amount of thick drool. When I heard the words, "kill," "you," and "Carsten," I bolted to my bedroom. The first lick of his belt's tongue hit my neck. Gashes and welts covered my chest, legs, back, and arms. A permanent V-mark is on my arm from the metal tip. The next day, a box wrapped in red foil was at the foot of my bed. An oversized card with "I'm sorry" written inside was taped to it. Tissue paper revealed a gorgeous Canon camera with a price tag. Numbers and plus signs whirled in my head, spinning away from me. I knew how much money father made, our rent, and the amount he gave grandfather every month. The math did not add up, but we stayed in our place. Now I own 29 cameras, and 5 of them are not "I'm sorry" gifts. But who would I be without these cameras? Still in pain a week later, I quit working with father. Junior also refused to assist him. He beat us every day until grandfather called and said the police arrested a friend of father's. He cleared his calendar. Before the drive, he yelled to dump out our garbage. I found a makeup case in the trash chute room. Black, rectangular, and shiny. It looked and smelled brand new. The light brown face powder glowed inside. Sneaking back inside the apartment, I locked myself in the bathroom and dabbed the puffy sponge on 4 whiteheads. The hard masses softened, becoming newborn skin. Excited, I dabbed the sponge on the scar on my forehead. My face looked even and smooth. At the jail, we moved with nervous caution through the series of lonely hallways. The clanks of locking gates did not alarm me. The security check sign leading to a closed room did. A female guard waved us inside with a gloved hand, then searched Junior and father's front and back pockets. "Pockets," she said to me 3 times. I stared at her stone-faced, unable to move or speak. Father patted my shoulder, whispering, "It's okay." She smiled, pointing to my front pockets, and twirled her fingers around for my back pockets. I dropped carrot oatmeal cookies, peppermints, my wallet, and change into the clear bin. After she said thank you and pointed to the door, I heard a camera click outside. The sound confirmed I should be more concerned with being behind a camera than being a beautiful boy. She would have found the case in my back pocket had she patted me down. Once inside the visiting room, I ran to the restroom and traced the sign of the cross across my chest. Grunts and moans stopped me at 19. On the reflective tile, I made out a man with his face pressed against the wall. I leaned closer, peeked over inside the next stall, through the gap at the end of the divider, and saw another man behind him pumping his body. The man panted. The wall steamed. The man said, "Kiss me." I squeezed into the corner of the stall, smashing my face against the tile. Some of the bulbs needed replacing, rendering the man into a blur of movement and smudged lips. His skin, even and pale, revealed his young age. He slid his fingers through the opening. The screws that connected the divider to the wall screeched. He pulled it back further. Tattooed on his neck was the word rebel. The men in the stall were both rebels, and I was a co-conspirator. As his breath steamed the tile, I blew on the wall. We shared the same breath until a hand banged on their stall. "Let us finish," he yelled, and they continued. Feeling dizzy, I rolled my head away from him and covered my mouth to smother the laughter. The sound that came through was like stone being dragged across wood.